Allo, allo, allo. Buonasera. Here's I'm Andrea. This is the second day of Superflat 2025. I got the immense pleasure to have with me like Tolouse Low Trax.
Yes, same for me. Happy to be in Italy all the time.
It just played like in the main stage. We were just like steaming off after the set, and yeah. What I can say? Are you doing? You feeling good? Are you enjoying your stay in Italy?
Yes, always in Italy. I mean, this is like I play quite often. That's really nice. Be always back in Italy. But there's many connections with Italy, so like coming home.
So yeah, just before to start, we were basically talking about like your relationship with Italy and the music heritage from Italy. You were just talking about.
Yeah, it's very simple. You're going with your parents on holidays when you're 12 or 13 years old, and then it was mostly like actually maybe a bit boring for you, but Lago di Como, you know. So, but it was like you have a ghetto blaster, little one, and you're recording everything you can hear in the radio, because even the radio was in the 80s like amazing. It was especially a lot of funk and disco music. It was like difficult at that time to find the stuff, you know. We're just recording a snippet because you missed the beginning or the end or whatever. But then you're looking for it, and it was kind of a different way of working to find something, you know. So it was very precious in a way.
And when you heard like the first memories of you like going to dance to an Italian club?
I was always dancing. It was the only reason to go to a club.
In Italy, you have like any special memories?
No, there was one was also in North Italy, but I don't remember the name of the place. But it was also kind of a Afro cosmic thing. I mean, very eclectic music, very tribal, African, disco, everything. It was. I mean, this is still my thing. Like it's very to hear very eclectic music, you know, all kind of styles.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was listening to your DJ set just a few moments ago. That basically it was like I cannot even like trace back when it was like your beginning in music. But when I was like listening to your set, it was seems like music.
I mean, I started
like
as
coming from yesterday. It was something that it was like be like something like SoundCloud founds was like really contemporary. Do you do research on a daily basis?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, sometimes I'm a bit tired because I see myself more as a producer, you know. But it's like you have sometimes kind of breaks, and you prefer to have DJ sets because it's a bit, like I said before, it's like less responsibility, you know. I mean, of course, you're responsible for the audience, but if you play live, you cannot change so much, you know, because it's your music, and you can even not. I played in a band also before. Then you can complain, hey, you made something wrong, you know. If I play alone, as Tolouse Low Trax, I have a full responsibility what I'm doing, you know. So it's a tiny bit more stressful, you know. And it's also like very, very improvised. And this is like I'm always good as my audience, you know. So it comes everything back or not, you know. So it's a different thing.
You know, I can definitely see, especially like seeing you like playing on DJ set on CDJs. You know, like in Italy when we.
Well, I was a big record collector. I sold everything because it's too stressful, you know.
And for me, it was funny because basically, like when in Italian we say play is the same word for suonare, to play, and to giocare, like with the toys. It was like it looks like pretty playful about your approach to the digital stuff. Is there like any you got a different approach when you have on records, when you're like on digitals, you got like in some ways the influence, the support influence here.
I mean, you don't have to compare always. I mean, of course, what I'm collecting or like the tracks I'm choosing, there's always maybe a little influence to my own productions, sooner or later, maybe not. But I'm not trying to copy anything. I make always my own version of everything. So back in the days when I played at Salon, I was testing a lot of my tracks at nighttime, you know, at Saturday night, or how is it working, you know. I think to hear some tracks very loud and very powerful with an audience, it's very, very helpful to find your style, you know. Because I think if it's annoying or it's difficult or experimental or is it very sexy, whatever, I'm not sure if I understood the question, to be honest.
No, it's basically always about like how like the people react to your music. But so just to understand like you.
Yeah, I'm not playing for myself, not really.
And that like Lucella is pretty like an important thing. So, like if I look back to your career, basically like you are not as a solo, you started as a band, and then you basically like, put yourself into a project like the Salon de Amateur. That is basically not you producing music for yourself. Not
But this is really, it's very helpful to have also if you're a booker and you're inviting people and you'll be a host and you try to feel people comfortable, your guests, So I'm on both sides. I like how I want to be treated by other people when I'm invited, but I know how to make people a good time at Salon. This was 15 years. It's a long time. It's very nice to be on the other side also. You can learn a lot about that.
Yeah, especially if you experience like the both side, you know how to be an host and how to be a guest.
Yeah.
And so, just to understand like from your beginning, let's just say I was born in 1991. You in 19 yeah. You in by then in 1991. Have you ever like released any music? You already been like any formation? You were like
1991, no, but it started in 1994 with Kreifler. When I moved from South Germany, so that was the reason why I lived very close to Switzerland and Alsace. So it was like, if I was going to parties, it was in Basel and in Zurich. There were a lot of underground parties and very special clubs like Totentanz, and it was a very amazing time. So this was also like, then I started to collect records, like crazy, like really like, I can't tell. It was really too much. Buying every week, going to Zurich and buying a lot of jazz funk, and it was a bit the time of acid jazz and Giles Peterson and stuff like that. I was very fond of this kind of stuff,
So basically, you were already being part of a band, and you were like a long
Then
time,
I came,
like
I came to Düsseldorf.
listening to music, collecting records, and basically start to archiving, like having the stuff.
Exactly.
And then comes up like to you to DJ.
So I came to Düsseldorf because to study art at the academy in Düsseldorf. And during that time, my work was like installations. It was kind of connected with like sound installations, sound systems, and I was just sitting there and playing music, So when someone, Stefan Schneider from, I don't know if you know him, Max Station for Rococo Road. Yeah, I mean, he discovered me as a guy and like as an artist, and he was very impressed about my work and my attitude. So then I started to play records before and after the gigs from the new project Kreitler, which was a kind of post-rock, krautrock, electronica thing, So then I moved very slowly into becoming a musician. So buying your first sampler, your first MPC and stuff like that. And because I never thought I can make music, never. I was not so presumptuous, to think like, it was even not a dream, It was just happening, And I say always yes to everything.
Yeah, that's always like, I guess difficult like for someone who was like collecting a lot of music, listening, being like exposed to music constantly, to like even like have somehow also the arrogance to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna make something new. Like there's like so much music out, and then you have to take coverage.
In the
I'm gonna add some music.
But beginning in the 90s, it was not so easy to start making music by yourself. I mean, not like today. Like bedroom music, or people can have access to all kind of production tools, This was a bit more difficult. It was even a bit more expensive to buy, I need 2,500 euros to buy an MPC or something to start producing something, And there was also a lot of respect. But in the same way, I mean, Düsseldorf was like very well known for, Duff and kind of this kind of amateur attitude to make. Everybody can make music. It starts with punk music or even Der Plan and all this kind of, a lot of people from the art academy started to make music, because it was possible to buy a little synthesizer or something in the 80s. And this was impressive for me, this kind of amateur attitude, like dilettantismus also. It was a program in a way. It was the opposite of being professional. And this is very interesting. I miss this a little bit today, because everybody wants to be professional, which is unhealthy, I think, very much.
Yeah, basically, I think like
You have to make mistakes to make
Yeah.
interesting music, you know.
yeah, and like in the contemporary years, I always feel the pressure. Like basically, like everything we see around us is always like HQs and always like really hi-fi, really high quality. So like it's somehow like sometimes we don't feel, as you said, like to make mistakes because basically we have to start from a point. We cannot always like reach.
But you know,
topic,
if you study contemporary art, and I learned a lot from this point of view, like having, you know, they're talking always about making mistakes and failing. You know, can be a high goal. So failing to discover something very interesting, you know, because you're failing, and I translated this to my own music in a way, you know. So I was very free actually, because there was no address also at that time. You know, when I started at Tolouse Low Trax, it was like, I don't know who is listening to my music, you know. No idea. And it makes you very free.
And you mentioned like kind of frequently like Düsseldorf. How like the surroundings influence you as a listener, as an observer, and as an artist.
It's a very rich city in music history, you know, and in art history. It's a very small city, but like very often, like that's why Berlin is so fucked up, because a lot of interesting things coming from people from the provincial little towns, you know. Düsseldorf is not really basically provincial, but it's kind of a small city, maybe a bit boring, so people have to build up everything by themselves, you know. So, and then this is can be really useful.
Yeah, because they like it basically makes like people hunger, so they have to like to work to get something to earn something.
But yeah, you have to create your own places also. I mean, you need a good record shop, you need a good little club. You can go there. There must be a social life. You cannot do everything by yourself, you know. There must be some people. A place is very important for even a little city, to have a social place. You can meet and exchange your opinions and your attitude.
So basically, you're saying like it's really important for people to gather in like an
Yes,
like
very important. Of course.
place to have like a gathering place, like to have a meetup place.
Yeah, of course.
And how you feel about this? Like now that you'll be like traveling, definitely kind of a lot. I mean, like
It was a lot. It's a bit more calm now because when you're in Düsseldorf, you are happy to go every weekend somewhere else. But in Paris, it's different because you don't want to leave the city because it's so nice.
So,
And I have a little boy also, a little baby now, so I don't have not so much needs to travel. But I need the money. That's the problem. It's a dilemma actually, a big dilemma.
And did you experience in the last few years like some places that still have like the same energy, the same like DIY energy that you just described about Düsseldorf in the recent year? Like someone about like the contemporary club and art scene that like still make you feeling that yeah, the thing is still alive.
Yeah, of course. The salon, you mean?
No, just like the places that you go through during your tour, during your.
So now at the moment I'm more invited to DIY places, not really big clubs, you know, because it's always very interesting, you know. It's less money, okay, but it's really so nice. The people are very nice, also very respectful, you know. I mean, in a way of like, because you know have a certain age and it's like not, but people are still nice, you know, and they're not thinking like, I don't think I don't know where are the bad people. I don't see them into view.
You know, man, like
Just on social media bubbles, I think.
so like you know, bad people in the real life, like only people like
Not really. I'm not
like,
together with idiots, you know, and I'm not choosing places to play with people that don't understand what I'm doing.
That's pretty nice. Like basically, if you still have like the possibility, like every time to, you know, experience the music in the way that you like. And how is for you, like after so many years, like to have to balance? You just said like you now have a little boy. How is it for you? Like, is it challenging for you to balance it? You know, like the music jet lag that is like so related to the nightlife.
Yeah, of course, it's difficult sometimes. Absolutely, it's tiring, of course, a little bit. I have to be honest, of course. It's not easy at the moment, but it's for no one. It's easy, you know. I mean, even but a lot of my friends in Paris, for example, or even in Germany, like people in my age, around 50, 60, they're having less gigs, of course, and they struggle, of course. That's quite hard sometimes, you know.
No, so
Because I'm not a graphic designer, fuck. But graphic designers in danger too, by the way.
yeah, and I think that every job title in this moment is going through something. So
Yeah, I can write a book. Wanted to always to write a book, but the book business is also not very well paid, you know.
I think.
So what can I do?
I think it's
don't
like
know.
more
Tell me.
dangerous than records, probably. I think it's easier to print records, to press records than print books at the moment.
Yeah, so. But also the records, I mean, I have always a vinyl version of my records, you know, because I like the object, you know. But I don't know, I mean, I don't really need it, you know. I mean, the version on vinyl, I would love to. The next stuff is maybe just on digital,
Okay.
just on Bandcamp, you know. I buy everything on Bandcamp because it's like, I really want to pay the people. I'm not buying anything on Soulseek. Just if I can't find it on, then maybe, yeah, but I like to pay the people.
And we're still on Soulseek.
My girlfriend is very much on Soulseek, but not me. I'm just asking if I can't find something because it's too old, or you know. I pay still some old tracks, but I'm a bit tired about this rare, crazy, obscure record stuff because I spent so much time with collecting rare records, you know. So now I sold nearly everything, and it's a kind of a relief also, you know, because I made it fucking 40 years, you know.
No, Mike, I can tell, especially like it was what I was saying even earlier. That basically, since I saw you like playing with USB, I could see you they were like so more heterogeneous. It could be like change all the time. So. And
Yeah, I think it's just okay. I mean, the CDJs are kind of an instrument too.
yeah, no, maybe I'm thinking like about more allowed the like when you switch the perspective from like the crate digging of these like really rare groove tracks, and then you just start to get in touch with everything that pops up like basically on a digital release. Basically, there's something that is like it's gonna be like describing that moment, but you don't know for how long it's gonna exist. It's something that's like really changing, and then somehow like make it really dynamic.
Yeah.
And what I can say? I think I'm good.
I'm good, but I can talk more. But
Yeah.
maybe someone has a question. I don't
Yeah,
know.
sorry.
No problem.
Is there anything that you would like to ask to him?
People prefer to dance than to talk, of course, I understand. Especially the second day, yeah. I guess. But it was fun. I was really happy to be here.
Yeah.
I was never in Parma, but I know a bit like, I mean, Bologna, Torino is like very, very,
That is better, yeah.
I think I'm very, very much in love with Turin.
No, very important. Is it?
Very much, yeah. I love Turin so much. Because of the white magic and the black magic, you know. It's essential.
I want to ask you, after all your experience and years of music, how much, during the years, how changed your relation with money and your art, and some advice for young artists that are struggling maybe?
Yeah, man, basically it's not fucking your fault, you know, because the world is going crazy. It's not your fault. Just do it, and maybe there are coming times and everything is a bit more bienveillance. Things are coming to you, you know. You have to see it, of course. I think that's very important. Some people can't see what is in front of them, possibilities. And always I wouldn't say it's fighting all the time. It's just let it go, you know. I mean, basically, I would love to just go to Greek island and just sitting in a cafe, you know, the whole day. I don't want to produce so much anymore because I give space to you, you know, and it's a very nice feeling actually. It's like an invitation, you know.
Yeah, like giving the space for the upcoming generation.
Yeah, of course, it's so nice. I mean, when I made a salon and there came in 20 years, there's always coming a new generation. And sitting there and listen to music, and of course, sooner or later they ask you, hey, can I play some records too? And I said, of course you can play. You take over, you know, it's fine for me. I'm not keeping it for myself. It's boring, you know. I want to do nothing anymore, really. It would and because there's so much information anyway, and it's like if I make a new track or not, I don't think so important. Maybe it's. I mean, sometimes you hear that oh, I was listening to this track and it was saving my life or something, or you changed my attitude, you know. I just had met a young person last week in Düsseldorf, and she said I was changing her life, just listening to my music and meet me personally. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Like, I can't believe it, my God.
Yeah.
It's so nice. Of course, I have to accept it, you know, and not being suspicious about it. You know?
Yeah, I think those are the kind of moment that proves you that what you're doing is like way bigger than you can even understand. That you can even realize how you like basically impact the people, influence the people when you're like just.
It's very nice, but don't take it too serious. Huh? I mean, I try not to take it too serious, but of course, if someone is telling me something like this, I'm very happy. Makes me happy.
Has music ever like been like some kind of like becomes like a nightmare for you? So a moment where you feel like you were like obsessed with music or obsessed with the like active in music?
There's phases all the time, you know. You're very impressed sometimes, and like I have visions sometimes. If I hear new music and I have visions, I can make a kind of interpretation of this kind of new stuff, you know. And looking for my own, but I'm not stressed about it, you know. But always looking for something new, of course, but with little steps, you know. I cannot. I'm not imitating anything. That's for sure. In my music, I mean, I find my own way to working with the new styles or whatever, you know.
So like, have you ever experienced this kind of like writer's block when you're just in a studio on your own and I have to do music, I have to do music, always like comes up like more organically to you?
Yeah, Rick Rubin said in his last book that the creativity is never stopping. It's always there.
You said that Rick Rubin.
You have to just to see it, you know. And sometimes you're blind, you know.
Yeah.
It's always work not getting blind, you know, and not. Yeah, I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's just like it's some kind of like a calling or something that you don't have to think about. It just like comes natural to you. Like, yeah, wanna do something.
Calling. It sounds religious, but you're Italian.
I don't know. I think honestly it comes like from Psychmeister from Psychmeister Walsh. It's like a advertising and creative agency from New York. It was like a really nice TED talk that it was like dividing the work in 3 levels. That basically the 9 to 5, the career and the calling. 9 to 5 is what you do for living. Career is what you do with a purpose of career, and calling is something that you do because you just feel the need to do it.
Yeah, actually, it's nice what you're saying. I agree.
So yeah, no, it's not definitely something that is non-religious, but you know, like,
you know,
all the people that are in front of us, like we are all people that interacted with music,
I was
religious stuff.
Teasing you a little bit.
No, you know, it's something that we cannot touch. So no, I still have to be some kind of sensitivity to be like so into something that we cannot touch.
There is something magical in working, you know, in art, and but in music is something very, very special. You can moving walks, really crazy.
Do you have the feeling that there is still something in music that you want to try that you never like approached it? Something that is like, yeah, there is still something to do in the music field that you never done before.
I think I tried a lot. Also, I mean, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So something that still has to be focused.
I don't know. Yeah, but sometimes you have to just, I mean, for me it's also important to not talk so much anymore.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, but that's I think it's
in
like,
general. I mean, really in general.
Yeah, but that's pretty meaningful, like difference between like people doing music and people behind.
It would be a better world if we have not so much comments anymore.
Still something that you want to ask to Tolouse Low Trax?
Et voilà.
Voilà, I think we're done.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
It was nice. I love your shoes, by the way.
Oh, me too.
It's not for me, but it's good for you.
Oh, you got good selling as well?
Yeah. Grazie. Yes, thank you. It was nice.
I enjoyed that.